Hey, I'm Angela Sticca Snyder with Taxonista, and the end of the year is almost here. I'm going to give you some things that you should probably think about, all right? So, if you're sitting on a huge profit, you might want to make some asset purchases before the end of the year. So, for instance, if your highest tax bracket is 30%, which there really isn't a 30%, it's like 32, but let's say 30%, and you buy a new computer for $1,000, you just saved $300 on your federal taxes. So it's a really good time to take a look and see anything and everything that you know you're going to need to purchase soon, maybe in the next 6 months, and see if maybe it's a good idea for you to purchase it now before the end of the year. Other things to look at is if you're a small business and you've started to have a large profit this year, because with the economy skyrocketing the way it is, I've seen a lot of our businesses going straight up. So if you're already an LLC, then you might want to consider Escort. It might be too late for this year, but next year for sure. So it can save you up to 15.3% on all the income that we pass through on your K-1. I'm going to do a whole video on that, so don't worry about the details of it, but do catch the new video coming up about LLC versus Escort and why you'd want to do it. So definitely do that. If you're not an LLC right now, it's definitely something you should look at doing. One misconception that I see a lot of clients thinking is that they create an Escort in like Texas or Nevada because there's no state income tax. It doesn't matter where you create your LLC for tax purposes, okay? Legal purposes, definitely, but I'm not going to get into that. So even if you create your business in Texas and there's no state income tax, but you live in California, then you're going to be taxed on your income because you earned it in California. So it doesn't really matter so much on where you actually organize it. But definitely look at getting an LLC before the end of the year or as soon as possible if you don't already have one. Some other things to keep in mind are, did you realize that you're technically supposed to have all your taxes paid in by the end of the year? Because for some reason, I have these clients that have sent me notices and they're like, why do I have all these penalties? And I'm like, well, because the tax was due, back in December or at the latest, April 15th, but they didn't get it filed. I mean, they filed an extension, but unfortunately an extension's only an extension of time to file and not an extension of time to pay. So if you think you're going to have any balance due or you think you're going to be under withheld for your taxes, definitely want to make sure that you file on time to minimize those penalties or put in an estimated tax payment. What you can do is you can go to irs.gov/payments and go ahead and set up an account and make a payment that way. I mean, nobody wants to make a payment to the IRS, but you also don't want penalties or interest. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Another thing to keep in mind is if you have, one of those flexible spending accounts or an HSA, you want to make sure to maximize that before year end. And if you have an HSA, it's a good idea to fully fund it each year because then that money can grow and it comes out tax-free for medical purposes. So if you're a little bit older now, if you're like 20 or 30, maybe not. But anything beyond that, if you can continually fund that, then it does continue to grow. And when you pull it out, maybe in your later years, it is all tax-free money. But with your flexible spending account, you've got to use it or lose it. So definitely look at your flexible spending account and see if there's anything in there. Any stock sales, if you're sitting on any old capital losses, Lord knows I am, okay? So if you're sitting on any old capital losses, now might be a good time to actually sell some of your investments or your mutual funds because the market is up so high that you would be able to offset those capital gains with any leftover capital loss. Because remember, you're limited only to $3,000 a year. And so if you capture some of those gains, then you can offset it with some of those losses and not have to pay anything. Another cool tip is, I saw a client doing this, and I'm like, no. You want to use those bonus points. How many people travel or have frequent flyer points or the credit card points you capture, right? Everybody does that. It's in one form or another. Everybody's doing that. However, when you get those bonuses and those perks, don't use it for business purchases because your business purchase would be deductible anyway. Save it for a Christmas gift or for a holiday item or for yourself. But don't use it on the business. Save it for yourself or gift it to somebody because your business purchase would be deductible anyway. Another thing that I think is a great idea, and everybody wants to start off the new year with New Year's resolutions. They're like, oh my gosh, you want to be more organized, or you want to lose weight, or you want to start exercising, right? It's super simple to start off being organized, especially with Taxonista. We have got amazing tools to make your life easier and our life easier come tax and accounting time. So give us a call. We can get you set up with the free Xero account to give it a try. If you go electronic, it makes things super easy because everything digitally can come on in and you can organize it. Even if you don't do anything with it throughout the year and you have it for tax time, at least you've got it organized. Because remember, if you don't have some type of checks and balances, something's definitely gonna fall through the cracks. I'm gonna leave you with some parting words, okay? Especially for the end of the year. Things to keep in mind. No receipt, no deduction. Also make sure that you start the year off right with a mileage tracking app and get some type of good bookkeeping and accounting system. Hey, I'm Sticca Snyder, and I hope you learned at least one thing from this video. Watch more because we've got tons coming. My most favorite one coming up is gonna be LLC versus Escort. Stay tuned for it. Thanks for checking out this video. Subscribe if you haven't already, and if you wanna see more, just tap right there.